What's up, you guys? I think we're on now. We had a couple of technical difficulties. I appreciate you guys joining us today. Can I get a chat to see who's on the session right now? Maybe type in your name in the chat so I could see you. Okay. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and move along. I've got Mitch in the background. I'm gonna be cueing him to change up the slides as we go along, and I think we got the slide up there right now. So traditionally, in the live in-person National Sports Forum event, someone on the steering committee introduces the speaker. We're in the virtual setting this year, and it's a little bit different. So I'm going to have to ad lib a couple things here. Um, and Mitch, do you want to go ahead and just cue to the next slide? Make sure it's working. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'll just share the movie trailer version about my story and why I'm here today. I actually grew up playing sports and consuming sports on television. I was a Oakland A's fan growing up. Bo Jackson is my favorite athlete of all time. My dad was a big San Francisco 49ers fan. We used to, watch back in the days of Bill Walsh and Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. And my high school and college years were in the 1990s during the Michael Jordan era, and ended up graduating. I played varsity sports in high school and a lot of intramurals in college, and ended up graduating with a degree in electrical engineering back in 1999. And a week before I graduated college, I woke up with these massive headaches, and a week later, I graduated with my diploma in electrical engineering, and 2 days later, I'm supposed to be on a plane to Bilbao, Spain, for a trip before I started my life in the real world. And my dad and I went to the emergency room, and after 2.5 hours of testing, the doctors concluded that I had something else going on in there. And I met my dad in the waiting room, and he said, "It doesn't look like you're going to Europe. The doctors think you have a tumor." So I went through a huge medical ordeal. I had 3 operations. They took a racquetball out of my head. I had to relearn how to walk and talk and tie my shoes. And then by the time I got uh, functional again, we had just entered the dot-com recession. So that was a 2.5 year recession, and this is before the iPhone. This is before the social media. So it's a very different time. And then just like coming to that realization that early in my life, my mortality, I got to focus on the things that make me happy. And growing up playing sports, and when I was in college, I went to concerts all the time. The Bay Area to go see Metallica and Soundgarden and Foo Fighters, and then ended up meeting the owner of a startup company in 2002 that designed and manufactured backstage passes in the touring industry. And at the time, I didn't have any sales experience, but I was hungry. I just survived this major ordeal, and I'm going to go for it. And long story short, I ended up building the portfolio in the sports industry for the company, working several years with the New York Yankees and the Baltimore Ravens, over 80 NCAA college Division 1, Division 2 football programs, corporate brands like Nike and Red Bull. And yeah, I pretty much had my hands in all aspects of the sports industry, and been involved with the National Sports Forum since 2005 when it was in Seattle, and I actually haven't missed a forum since. So I'm a loyalist. I love the Sports Forum family, and yeah, that's really developed my sales and marketing chops was working in the sports industry. And 2020 came along and was needed to make a pivot. Had built a sustainable infrastructure for my nonprofit, and we sustainably award over $50,000 in scholarships to kids that have survived cancer from across the country. And in 2020, really accelerated my transitionary process into where I wanted to go next. And connected with Southwestern Consulting at the time, and a lot of things were in alignment. And I've been on their team as a professional sales and leadership coach over the past couple of years now, and it's been a great ride so far, and I'm privileged to be here today. So that's a little bit about my story. Mitch, you want to cue the next slide? And I'm not really sure how many people who's on the call right now, but if you guys could text me just so I kind of have an idea on who's in the room right now. Text me your first and last name. I'll be able to see it right here on my mobile device. And what's your favorite moment or event that you've either experienced so far in 2022, or what you're looking most forward to. Go ahead and text me an image or your favorite event, if you're active right now. And I'll just share mine so far for this year was definitely the Kentucky Derby, Rich Strike. I mean, I watched the whole broadcast live, and um, I was just as surprised as everybody else. And I watched the replay from NBC Sports several times, and also um, uh, the aerial view as well, and just like the whole story about how that came to be is pretty inspiring itself. And so yeah, if you guys want to text me, if you are on the call, let me know, and that'll give me an opportunity to see a little bit into your personality as well. Because but when it comes to sales, this session is sell like a champion, mindset and habits of top producers. This is a relationship built business. We want to be able to establish connection, and more importantly, establish trust with the people that we work with. And I'll get a little bit more into the EQ side of this further in the presentation. So, but if you are active and if you have texted me, I greatly appreciate it. Looks like I got one couple. Okay. Nick from Legends. Looking forward to our new stadium opening September 3rd. Appreciate that. Let's see who else we got here. Mitch in the house, helping with me all the tech. Looking forward to the UCLA Bruins coming back to a packed Rose Bowl stadium this fall season. Awesome. Let's see. I hope I don't butcher your name. Mamadou. Seeing soccer stadiums be filled with fans once again, enjoying the sports the way it's supposed to be. Awesome. I appreciate that, you guys. I really appreciate your participation there. So before I dive in here, go ahead and cue the slide, Mitch. Just I want to give you a little bit of background about Southwestern Consulting and who we are. I won't go spend too much time into this, but we've actually been around since like the Civil War. The coaching division, we're a family of 32 different companies. The coaching division has been around for the past 15 years, and we've put about 18,000 people through our coaching program. And one of the big draws for me with this company is when I learned about the clients that Southwestern was working with, like American Family Insurance and Chevy and Northwestern Mutual, I realized, well, these are all like major big time corporate sponsors of sporting events. So that was a big draw for me and working for this company. And we ran a poll in Q4 of last year on the results that people were getting from our coaching program, and they were seeing an average increase of 46% increase in their sales. So if you guys could benefit from an extra 46% increase in sales, that's what we help you. That's what we help you do. But really, my intention today is really to deliver you guys a ton of value and have you walk away with a tool or two that you can implement immediately into your business. So go ahead and cue the next slide, Mitch. Thank you. So elevate sales. That is, not only do we help you sell more, but our mission is to elevate the perception and practice of sales from across the world. And the reason why people get results from coaching is because of the habits that we help you create. Let me repeat that. The reason why people get results from coaching is because of the habits that we help you create. So here we are. We are halfway through the second quarter of the year. So I want to know, you guys, like, I'm sure, being in the sports industry and being in sales, you guys have goals, right? So I'd like to know, like, where are you at in relation to your goals? If you want to go ahead and drop me a text on where you're at. Oh, Ron, thanks. Field of Dreams game last summer. Yep. Right there with you. That was pretty incredible. Thanks for sending that. So yeah, where are you guys at in relation to your goals right now? Are you on track? We're definitely going through some interesting times, so socially and within the business, and trying to get fans back in the stadiums. Like, how is that affecting your guys's results? Like, where are you at? Are you on track to meeting your goals? Are you beyond? Or are you a little bit short? Um, feel free to chime in. I won't call anybody out publicly on this type of thing, but I'd love to kind of see where you're at on this. And if nobody's has anything to say, that's totally cool. Okay, we got on pace here. Thank you guys. Almost 80% sold club seating. Very cool. Hit our goals for our year closed by May 31st, starting over on June 1st. Awesome. Thanks, you guys. Good stuff. So, we like to say that the more when it comes to our goals, the more specific, the more terrific. Because if we're not clear on our goals, on what we want to accomplish by each quarter or by the end of the year, like, how are we going to know like the right activity to get there? But really, you guys, like, when you think about like the things, we have our goals. Do we really have control over the results, over our activities? We set our goals, we have quotas and everything, but at the end of the day, do we really have control over our results? We can do all the right things, right, and still not get the deal for one reason or the other. Maybe a corporate sponsor, they back out of the deal. We can't control things like that. We could definitely help influence the outcome on various situations. We have no control over the pandemic. There's there's the uncontrollables, but there are three things we absolutely have control over. Mitch, go ahead and cue the next slide. And we call these controlling the controllables. And now, if there was a worksheet that came along with this presentation, if you downloaded that, great. If you haven't downloaded it, that's fine. Just bring out a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to take some notes right here. Next slide. So there's actually three things that we have control over when it comes to sales and in our business. And the first thing is skills. Next slide. So when you guys think of skills when it comes to sales, I would love to see your guys' text messages on this. When you guys think of skills when it comes to sales and new business development, what are some skills related to that? Is asking for referrals? Is that a skill that we can develop, get better at? Communication, getting better at communication. Love it. What about getting better at closing? Following up, communicating. Thank you. Being personable. Excellent. Building trust. Yeah. What about leading someone to make a decision? Is that a skill we have control over that we can all develop? Appreciate you guys sharing. Thank you so much. So can we all agree that skills is one thing we always have control over, our efforts to develop our skills? Okay. Okay. Cue the next slide, Mitch. So the next side of the triangle is motivation, right? Because I'm sure we all know somebody in the industry who has a tremendous amount of talent. And I've known people, like, growing up in like elementary school, they had all the talent in the world and then they could have taken it to the highest level, but they just weren't motivated to develop to become the person that they could actually be. Do you guys know people like who can go in and close a room anytime, but for some reason they're just not motivated to pick up that phone to make a call, to make follow-up calls? I encounter people like that all the time. They have tremendous talent, but they just don't have the motivation. So that's why that's why motivation is a part of being successful in this business. Because what happens if you have an idiot and you motivate them? What do you have? You got a motivated idiot. Okay, so that's one reason why skills is only a part of that. So cue the next slide, Mitch. And the last side of to the habits triangle is systems. Now, when you think about systems in relation to your business, what comes to mind? Go ahead and drop me some text, you guys. Systems in your business. So I'll just kind of I'll dive into this. When you first start out in sales, like in tickets or whatever it is, it's kind of like the fire hose, right? There's a lot coming at you, like product knowledge, you know, protocol, how things work, and whatnot. But then as you start to build a bigger portfolio of clientele, you have less and less time. So one of the things that we teach in coaching, and one of the big reasons why people get in coaching, is to have develop better systems. And that is scheduling their time, like executing on the time that you need to be making calls, doing follow-ups, your networking time, to where you're proactive most of the time, to where you're not thinking, okay, I need to go out there and find new leads, to where you have systems to where you're constantly developing leads through the referrals and going through and and being able to effectively follow up on these leads is a big part of the system. So the thing that ties all these together, Mitch, cue the next slide, is habits. So you guys, what happens if one leg of the triangle is missing? What happens if we're missing one leg of the triangle? It collapses, right? Nothing really works. So the thing that ties like all these together, because you think about Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, like the best of the best, they don't settle. They're always looking for accountability to get 1% better. And the thing that allows them to be 1% better, cue the next slide, Mitch, is accountability. Like Jordan, Serena Williams, Kobe, they all had coaches. They all had somebody in their corner keeping them accountable to the things that they needed to do, even if it was just getting 1% better. Cue the next slide. So just an example here. One of our clients from Cronky Sports, Elizabeth, she was in a situation where she was in a sales slump. And when you get in a sales slump, sometimes you need a little bit of motivation. That could be hard to find again. You gotta find that fire again. But she already had an investment with a she was already making an investment to invest in herself, but it wasn't getting to her to the level that she wanted to. So she partnered up with us at Southwestern, and within the first 3 months, she increased her productivity by 139%. Within the first 3 months, and the average deal, the average quota was five per month. She did 17 in her third month. So that's just a testimony of how having that added accountability and that motivation helped her reach out to the next level. Next slide. So I'm going to talk about the three habits of top producers. So when it comes to top producers, they find a way, not an excuse. Right. They find a way past their head trash and their BS, to where they know they need to make something happen. Sure, stuff gets in the way, but they don't let it stop. They find a way. They find a way to navigate around it. Next slide. Do you guys know this guy on the screen? Not Homer, but but the ones on each side of Homer's shoulder, right? You got the one side saying, "You got this," you got blackout time from 1 to 3 o'clock. I'm going to make blackout time from 1 to 3 o'clock. I'm going to prospect for new business. But 1 o'clock comes around, and and I don't have like all my market records ready to go. So it takes me 15 minutes to organize those. I'm ready 15 minutes into my block out time. Ding, I get a message on my phone, a text message. Okay, I check that. Next thing you know, another 15 minutes has gone by. And like in all reality, you guys, like if you have block out time for prospecting time, um, is the sun going to explode? Like if you don't check your text messages for like an hour and a half to 2 hours? Uh, Probably not. I mean, there might be a couple, red hot leads on the hook that you might be anticipating that call. You can make an exception every now and then, but top producers, they're always finding a way to break through to get to the next level, and they're not letting their head trash get in the way. So next slide. So in terms of your guys' business, if you're crushing your goals, awesome. But for the days you're not feeling as motivated, like what are some of the excuses that go into your head? Like if you have anything, feel free to drop me a text. If not, that's totally cool. But just think about it. No budget, not a good time to follow up. Too busy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what happens when we get caught up in busy work, right? Because we can get caught up in doing busy work all day long and not get a damn thing done at the end of the day, right? So being super intentional with how we execute our time is what's going to help move the needle in our business. Cue the next slide. The second habit of top producers is that they're students of the game. For those of you on this call who have been to an in-person national sports forum, you're probably familiar with like the super panel. These are guys who are like the folks that Abe Mavcor interviews during like the big interviews, like views from the top. These guys are the very best of the best, right? They're students of the game. They're always investing in themselves. They're doing market research. They're on top of the current trends. And when you're selling in this industry, whether you're a team trying to get corporate sponsors, or whether you're on the provider side trying to do business with teams, it's like, what are you investing to get to learn their business? So top performers are students of the game, always investing in themselves. One of our favorite quotes is by Jim Rome. A formal education will make you a living. A self-education will make you a fortune. Next slide. And then the third habit of top producers, they take action now. Next slide. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you guys, go ahead and text me. And this is how it works. A 10 is you're proactive on most days, most of the time. You have your schedule, you execute as needed. You're proactive the majority of the time. A 1 is you have an idea on what you should be doing, but you don't really have anything systematized. You kind of take things as they come along. So on most days, you guys, in your business and when it comes to sales, where do you fall on that scale of 1 to 10? On most days, where are you guys at? Okay, we got 4, 7. Okay. Again, thank you guys. I appreciate your honesty there. So let me ask you guys this, right? If you guys on most days, if you're not at least a 7, right? At least a 7, or maybe somebody on your team, is not a 7. If you're not between an 8 on most days, what does that cost you? Okay, so notice how I said what, not how much, because for some people it could be costing you a lot of money, but for others it could be costing you other things like a down payment on a dream house. It could be costing you, setting more money aside for your college, your kids' college, that dream vacation. So I just want to challenge you guys, right? If you're not between at least a 7 or between an 8 or a 10 on most days in your business, what is that costing you? Uh, Good. Next slide. Next slide, please. Do we freeze? No, okay, there we go. All right, all right. So I was going to ask you guys, what's the what's the most expensive cost in business today? If you're paying attention to the screen, um, it rhymes with stocrastination, but it's procrastination. Um, but we refer to it as creative avoidance. It's not that we're not intentionally like avoiding it, but it's the things that we need to be doing on like the fundamentals, like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, that we need to be doing on a consistent basis, like setting appointments, following through on appointments, um, phone calls, follow through, delivering proposals, all that stuff. If the longer we delay on that stuff, the longer it's going to take for a deal to happen, um, if it even happens. So, top producers, they take action now. Next slide. This is just a sample calendar of a top producer, someone that we coach. And out Southwestern, we're practitioners of everything sales, so we would never ask a client anything that we wouldn't do ourselves. So, like for myself, like I know what I'm doing through every single day throughout the week. As soon as Monday morning hits, my schedule is dialed in, and most days I'm batting between, or most weeks I'm batting between 800 and sometimes I'll hit 1,000. That's not all the time, but I'm pretty much batting between 800 and 900 every week because I don't have to think. I'm not burning calories, think about what I'm going to do. Everything is planned out. So I just execute on every single hour of the day. Next slide. Because sometimes we come back from an event, we come back, we see a motivational speaker, or we're super inspired by something like the Kentucky Derby, and it changes our mindset, and it inspires us to do stuff and say, yeah, I'm definitely gonna take action on this project as soon as I get back into town, whatever it is. But then a week goes by and you haven't started it yet. Um, and we call this a disease called Lodi, the law of diminishing intent, which just basically states that um, the the longer we wait to take action on something, the less likely we are to do it. So, um, go ahead and go on to the next slide. All right, so this is more the mindset piece of the training. Like, this is a abbreviated version of what we would do for your team, or group. And so that's the mindset piece. So moving into more of the sales training piece, we're shifting into that phase right now. So, um, can I get some text, hands, show of hands? How many people here play golf or try to play golf or a scratch golfer? Try to play. Yep, that's me. Not a whole lot of golfers. That's okay. That's okay. But let me ask you this: how many clubs are on a standard PGA bag? Got a yes? Anybody know? So there's 14 clubs. There's 14 clubs in a standard PGA bag, right? Except for me, right? I got 15. I got the ball that scoop the ball out of the water all the time. No, but seriously, why do we have 14? Why are there 14 clubs in a Top Golf? Yeah, I think, yeah, Top Golf could work. As long as it helps your game. Hi, Top Golf is great, man, for networking, building relationships. Absolutely, I would count that. But why do we have why are there 14 clubs in a golf bag? One for every scenario, right? We're not going to use a driver, our best driver, like on a par three, right? Yeah, each club serves a purpose, right? We need a different club for every scenario, for every distance. If we got to get over trees, we got maybe it's a pitching wedge or a sand wedge, various distances. So we have different clubs for every situation, just like in sales. We're going to have different scenarios, different opportunities. Um, you know, RFPs come out, and we need to have the right tools in place to put ourselves in the best position to win the deal. Next slide. So when you guys think of the cycle of the sale, like where does the sale begin? Go ahead and send me some text messages. Where does the cycle of the sale begin? Prospecting. Okay. Who else? Anyone else? Referral, maybe? Prospecting, referral. Okay, so let's say we're prospecting, or say we get a referral, right? Next slide. We call this a pre-approach. So our ability to connect with somebody who has the potential to buy from us, right? So the pre-approach is before you even contact the person. So it's we want to identify a couple things, right? What kind of personality type are they? Are they chatty, or are they direct? Are they direct to the point? Do they like to socialize, or they just like to get down to business? Because what happens if you engage with a prospect who's direct to the point and you're chatty? Probably not going to work out very well at first, right? So you want to be able to, if you can, that's a wonderful thing about social media, is you could find out about what their personality types are before you even engage with them. And the second part is what we call the golden nugget. What's the one, like, maybe insider information that nobody else knows, that maybe you have access to, to make before you make that call, right? So what kind of personality type, and what is that golden nugget that you could really like connect with them on that? Because you only have 7 seconds, right, to capture their attention. How are you going to make the most of that first 7 seconds? So what happens after the pre-approach? Naturally, next slide, is the approach, right? And typically on the approach, it's you've got the referral, you have the opportunity for the 30-minute call, hour Zoom, or grab coffee, or whatever it is, and you're just setting the appointment on the approach. So after the approach comes, next slide. We call it the introduction. You might call it the fact finder, but really, if you're you get the appointment with the potential prospect, and you could theoretically, you could start closing on the sale in the introduction, if you've done the first two things right, especially the pre-approach, the insider, making that connection, and then during the introduction, getting really good at asking second level questions, right? Finding out what's important to them. Oh, tell me more about that, right? So this is where, like, you're really going to gather like all the key information to put together a proposal for your deliverables. Next slide. So after the introduction and getting all the information, then you present the solution. You present, this is what's available. We can go A, B, or C, or A, B, whatever it is. And then after we do the presentation, what happens? What's the next phase in the presentation? What do we try to go for after that? You guys want to send me a text before we cue the next slide? Oh, somebody asked, can you please define second level questions? Yeah, so a second level question is, that you've uncovered a need for them, or you found a pain point for a client, right? A second level question is, oh, tell me more about that. You're digging deeper. Like, where does that pain come from? Did I answer your question? Let's see. Ask for the sale. let's see. Yeah, okay, so somebody said ask for the sale, so go ahead and click to the next slide, Mitch. So we go for the close, right? Okay, so we go for the close, but what happens if we go for the close, but we encounter an objection? You go to close the sale, but you have an objection. What next? Counter the objection. Okay. So how do we counter the objection? What do we say? Like, what do we do? So one thing that okay, ask if this their only objection. Okay. And then you have to address the objection as well, right? Um, when I was chasing the New York Yankees, I think I started chasing them back in 2004, and I finally secured my first deal. And I worked with them, for the next until I left the company I was at. I finally secured the deal in 2007, but I had to get over various objections. But I kept on following up, and I kept on coming back with other success stories of other teams that I was working with, and I just kept on pursuing it. And then finally, I got to deal with the Dodgers, and I was like, okay, all right, Yankees, let's rock and roll. This is what the Dodgers are doing, and the Yankees, okay, it was a tremendous solution for their business, and but it took me a while. I was able, because in sports, right? Because we work in seasons, that the buying patterns in sports is very predictable. We know when the buying season is. We know when the season ends. We know when the baseball winter meetings are, when the partner summits are for the NFL, right? So those are typically like good buying seasons, or if a particular team, they don't make it to the postseason, that's also a good opportunity to make an approach as well. Um, so go ahead and cue the next slide. Mitch, you're rocking it, dude. Thank you so much. So we call this 2 5 15. So two is the number of closes that the average producer knows. Five is a number of closes that a top producer knows. And in coaching, we run through 15 different scenarios, different stories to navigate through objections. So you have a tool belt of stories to navigate around objections. So, once you get like really good on the EQ on the introduction part of this on the sales cycle, um, you can literally start to answer objections before they even come up. And you do that through storytelling. Next slide. Next slide. Sorry, it's kind of weird, Mitch. So you got the objections. Okay, so we get to the objections. So what's the one thing that we ask for, regardless if we get the business or not? The one thing that we always ask for in the cycle of the sale, whether we get the business or not, and we've done a great enough job either way, what's the one thing that we always ask for? I'll give you a hint. It starts with an R. Anyone want to chime in through text? Appreciate the engagement. Okay. Okay. I'll one person answered, they answered the right one. I won't reveal it yet. Anybody else want to take a stab at it? It starts with an R. The one thing that we always ask for, we do a great job, whether we get the business or not, we always ask for the referral. Boom. Bingo, you guys. Right? Just like all you guys always ask for the referral, right? Always ask for referral, whether you get the business or not, right? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Okay. Next slide. And the next slide. So that's essentially the cycle of the sale, and really, like, your moneymaker is in the introduction. Like, That the second level questions and the pre-approach, like knowing what the golden nuggets are, like how are you going to best connect with this person. So um, this is the more like the advanced training part of this session right now. We call it, it's an acronym. We call it CLASP, and each letter stands for something. Let's just say that you work for a team and you're trying to sell it, do a group sale, right? Let's just throw that in there as a hypothetical situation. And say you're like in a big market where they have multiple sports profit. Let's just say that you're in Dallas. You got the Dallas Cowboys. Let's just say that you're the Texas Rangers, right? Just for an example, you've got the Cowboys, you've got the Dallas Stars, you've got the Mavericks, and you got all kinds of college football. So, why should they choose the Texas Rangers over, to spend their money with you rather than the other professional teams in the market? So, cue the next slide. So the C stands for currently. What's your current situation? You know, are you ready buying season ticket? Are you ready buying tickets from let's just say the Dallas Stars right now because they made it to the postseason? Um, you know what what's working for you? What's your level of investment type of thing, and what's the purpose of thank you for the opportunity to have the meeting with you. um, Cue the next slide. And the L stands for like. What do you like about your deal with the Dallas Stars? Okay, so they'll tell you. And the A is your moneymaker. Go next slide. So the A is alter. So what do you like about them? But if there's one thing that you could change about it, maybe it could be a variety of a different reason. The Dallas is a huge market, and it could take a while to get from one end of town to the next. But maybe for them, it's better for them to host their clients over the summer, versus the spring or the fall, right? Finding you're uncovering the need. Maybe you've worked with the Dallas Stars for a while, but you want to be able to tap into a market over the summer. So this is a good reason to work with the Texas Rangers. So this is where you would present the options, the hospital. A great selling point for the Rangers right now is they just opened up the new ballpark in 2020. And I don't know if you've been in the old ballpark versus a new ballpark, but the old ballpark, there's no like ventilation in there. So it's like really, really hot in the stadium. And I was at the Rangers Go Globe Life Field last year, and it's fully ventilated, air conditioning. It's fantastic. The concourses are very wide. S or click on the next slide, Mitch. Sorry. So the S stands for signer, right? So these are the other stakeholders are in the investment. Who else needs to be involved? Who else has a say in this decision? Because what happens if you get all excited about it, but then like the vice president of, I don't know, just say you work for like a logistics company, they're not on board, right? So you want to make sure that you have all the stakeholders involved at the very front end, so you don't have to do the process over again. And then cue the next slide. And then P is paint the picture. So basically you're going through. So I understand you want to, you want to be able to target an audience during the summertime instead of the spring or the fall or winter time. I know that you like this area, the stadium, your experience with the Dallas Stars. But I like the new setup, the new setup of the Globe Life Field is, we have the air conditioning, bigger concourse. It's summer, so you're readdressing the need. And if I can provide A, B, and C, is there any reason why we can't do business or move forward together today? Right. So That's the class method right there. I'm not have explained it thoroughly, but if you guys have any questions, we do this in a lot of markets. I coach a lot of realtors, and they use this class technique quite a bit. So go and cue the next slide, and next slide. Okay, so we're on the home stretch, you guys. I appreciate your time right now, and I just wanted to do this one exercise with you real quick, and it's the power of outside perspective because when you're in sales, you have a lot of autonomy in what you do, and the autonomy, like I said, for maybe not yourself, but maybe someone or someone on your team or other people on your team need to have better habits. Like our calendar, like I said, could fill up with busy work for as long as we allow it to, or by not managing our time as effectively as we should, we might miss out on an opportunity or two just because there wasn't enough time in a day to follow up with them. So I want to just do this quick exercise with you guys, and I'm gonna cue Mitch to post up a slide. Before you do that, Mitch, I want everybody here. I want you to count the number of F's, in this sentence, and I'm gonna leave this. I'll have Mitch click off the slide for as long as it takes for me to read it, and I want you to tell me how many F's you see in this next slide, and I'll leave it up there for as long as it takes for me to read it, and then Mitch will cue the next slide. So go ahead and cue the next slide, Mitch. Okay, next slide. All right. How many F's did you guys see? Go ahead and fire those texts to me. How many F's? You want to take a wild guess? Okay. We got a 5. Got a 4. Anyone else? We got a third. If not, that's totally cool. All right, go ahead and switch to the next slide, Mitch. So there's actually 6. There's actually 6 F's, and it's kind of a trick exercise because when you say the word of, the word of has a V, an enunciation into it as well. And sometimes we get accustomed to certain patterns that sometimes we can't see, the forest out beyond the trees, right? And that's a power of outside perspective and somebody helping you see things differently within your business, which is why a lot of people benefit from coaching. Next slide. So what do all these people have in common? Feel free to fire away. Best of the best, right? Winners. Yep. I'd agree. They're at the top of their game. They've got a team. They have somebody that holds them accountable for the success. I would say that nobody gets to the highest level alone. They always have partners. They have coaches to help them succeed. The best of the best, they're always investing in themselves, and they know they can't do it alone. Next slide. So just to kind of come full circle here, first and foremost, thank you guys for your time. Through our coaching program, we did a poll in the fourth quarter of last year. with about 3,000 clients that we have in coaching right now, and they're seeing a 46% increase in their sales. That's not terrible, right? Um, so can I get some can I get a couple text messages regarding um, do you guys get something out of this today? You able to pull something out, at least one thing that you can implement in your business, or if you have a team, you got a ton. Awesome. Appreciate that. Asking for the referral. Yeah. Well, that's the thing in sales. You don't get what you don't ask for, right? Awesome, you guys. All right. All right. So cue the next slide, Mitch. Productive. Thank you. All right. Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much. Okay. So before we wrap this thing up, organizing your time. Yes, that's huge. So before we wrap this up, okay, you're going to be a 1, 2, or 3. I want you to text me habits of top producers. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I want you guys to text me. You're going to be one of these 3 things. You're going to be a 1, 2, or 3. So this is what a 1 is. A 1 is I want to learn a little bit more about how I could be more accountable with my business to get better systems, get better referrals, manage my time more effectively. That's a 1. A 2, Danny, I got some value out of this. I have a team. I'd like to present this to my team or another team. This training, that's a 2. Or if you're a 3, Danny, this is good stuff, man. Would love to stay in contact. Let's connect on LinkedIn. That's a 3. So go ahead and fire off if you're a 1, 2, or a 3. Feel free to send me a text if you so desire. But outside of that, you guys, you go ahead and cue the last slide, Mitch. Awesome. Well, that's where you can reach me. Again, great for your guys' time and joining me here today. I hope you guys at least. So the one thing that I ask you guys, if you did learn something, you did pick something up, don't procrastinate. Take action now, and um, implement that right away, because top producers, they take action now. They find a way, not an excuse, and they're students of the game. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for sending me your text messages, and Mitch, I think that wraps it up. And thank you for your tech support on the back. So I think we're done, you guys. Thank you.